Dogumentary TV, producing the best breed documentaries on YouTube.
Hey Dogumentary TV, this is Gavin Goins Jr. from King Coda Presses in New Orleans, Louisiana. I discovered the Presa Canario through research, mainly online in the beginning. They always had Presa, what they call Presa type dogs on the islands hundreds of years ago. But then when English merchants and settlers came to the islands, they brought over bull terriers and other dogs like that. And they were bred to the original Presa type dogs on the island. And, you know, dog fighting and things like that was popular with the English merchants, and it kind of rubbed off on the natives of the Canary Islands. So they were in the dog fighting. That's where the dog aggression comes from in the breed. Also, though, in the 40s, dog fighting was banned on the islands. And this is kind of where I guess a lot of the gray area comes in with the Presa, because by the dog fighting being banned on the island, it stopped the purpose for making these type of fighting dogs. So the breed kind of went in a, almost went extinct. You know, the breed went into a bad place where they weren't around as much as they used to be. Researching the breed, I knew I wanted a large dog. I knew I wanted a protective dog, guardian type dog. I really limited my choices. I was looking at the Boerboel, Cane Corso, but fell in love with the Presa Canario, seeing videos, pictures, and reading up on them. I just felt like that was the breed for me. It just, you know how you just know when you know. I felt like that was the breed for me. The breeders on the island did keep these dogs and did keep the temperament and keep them for protection, keep them to guard the property, guard the family, things like that. So the reconstruction of the breed started place about in the early 80s, and they had a group formed to reconstruct the breed. So a lot of different dogs were used in this reconstruction. And that is why you'll see so many different phenotypes of Presas. But the Bardino Majero, and this is most breeders who I talk to and who I respect would agree that the Bardino Majero should be the consistent basis of the Presa. So, okay, your Presa can have, you know, Dane, Bull Terrier, Dogo Argentino, Neo, but does it have Bardino Majero? That's the one constant that I believe the dog should have, because that is a native dog to the island, and that is what separates Presas from other band dogs or other massive type breeds. My Presa Canarios look different from what people would be used to in the USA, the FCI standard Presa Canario, which was just changed. It used to be called the Dogo Canario. So the reason they look different is because they are directly from the birthplace of the breed. So they necessarily don't follow the FCI standards, because FCI is actually a company based in, I believe it's Belgium, but you know, they have a registry telling you how to breed a dog that's, you know, a native dog to the Canary Islands. So a lot of those breeders do not follow that standard. They breed for the original standard, which was just a medium to large size dog with a large head, and that did its job. If it was from the Canary Islands and it did its job, then it was considered a Presa Canario. My male, he's 29 inches at the withers, 130 pounds. He's a big boy. I have a female. My female Karma is 26 inches at the withers, about 100 pounds even. The FCI UKC standard, I know for sure the UKC standard has a minimum weight. They actually don't have a maxed out weight, which they used to. The minimum weight for a male is 100 pounds, I believe. The minimum weight for a female is about 85 to 88 pounds. And just the standard alone and how it's changed is why, with the breeds used to create the Presa and the changes in the standard, I believe is why you might see so many different phenotypes of Presas, which then again brings me to why I believe it was more of a type of dog, than a breed. It could be considered a breed, but it's definitely a newer breed. It's not gonna be so much copy and paste like Dobermans or Rottweilers or breeds that's been around for hundreds of years. The new standard was just changed in 1989. I was born in 1983, so it's not that much time to get a consistent phenotype, a consistent temperament, and things like that. What the advantages I feel in the more rustic type Presa Canario would definitely be the consistency in the temperament. The temperament and the drive especially. I've owned both styles of dogs. I originally had 2 FCI Presa Canarios that I started my program with. It just wasn't for me. The drives, when I would bring them to training, it wasn't consistent. It was more of a fear-based aggression and a lot of defense. It wasn't, for example, like my male Kaza, who has a lot of prey-based aggression, and he wants to bring the fight to the decoy or the threat, and that translates to animals as well. So I really like the consistency in the temperament. Once I got into what I consider the working lines, I haven't had a problem with temperament. That has not been my problem. The temperament to actually do the work. That's what they were bred for. Presas were purpose-bred dogs. They call them multi-purpose dogs. They were there to guard the family, guard the property, fight off stray dogs, and fight off, whatever may come. If that's an intruder, if that's a stray dog, whatever, that's what they were bred for. I feel like the working lines, they're more true to type in the temperament aspect. Right now, we're involved in personal protection training. I actually also am starting to do a little bit more sport training. Through having Kaza and a little puppy, Lonnie, that I just imported from Germany, they're showing me a lot of prey drive that translate well to more sport training. And that's another thing. Even though a dog may bite or a Presa may bite, I feel like I want to know the reason behind it. Is it out of fear? Is it out of defense? Or is it out of confidence and wanting to bring the fight to the decoy or the threat? So that's what I'm looking for in my line. So we are looking to get involved in PSA with a couple of our dogs. Some are better off just doing the personal protection work or guard dog work, but that's what we're into. I also plan to test them out on hogs. Also, I have a trip planned in the fall to go to Florida and test the dogs out on hogs as well. Just want to make sure we're keeping that original purpose of the dog alive. So the only way to know that is to test them. Temperament on these dogs, I would describe as they're balanced, but they are, just as it says in both standards, UKC and FCI, they're aloof with strangers. So I'm not looking for a dog that necessarily is barking off the handle and lunging at every person that walks by. But my dogs are fine with sitting at my side and kind of giving you a gaze of letting you know anything you do or anything they perceive as a threat, they will turn on. Socializing and training is very important with this breed. This breed is a very dominant breed. It's a large dog. It's a guarding type dog. So you want to have a clear basis of what is expected, what is expected from the dog as far as pack leadership or who's in charge, so to speak. So, but also socializing, getting them, you can never over socialize a Mastiff is how I feel. Mastiffs are guard dogs, but Mastiffs, a lot of Mastiffs take things personal, or they're, what people would say, self-preservation type dog. That's why they make good protectors. So you have to throw everything at them, especially if you plan to do protection training, sport work with these dogs. You have to throw any and everything at them. So by me importing my dogs from the Canary Islands, a lot of stuff was new to them when they got here. So when I imported them, first thing I did was out the crate were elevator doors, you know, sliding doors, escalators, elevators. This is all things these puppies never seen. They have the confidence though, and that's one thing I do notice is the confidence of the breed. I love it. They're coming out the crate, tail fully erect and curved as a Presa Canario should, chest out, head up. And even if they are startled by things at a young age, I look for the recovery. Recovery is the biggest thing. So yes, definitely, if you get a working type Presa, you want to socialize them. You want to bring them to Tractor Supply, Home Depot, Lowe's, anywhere that allows dogs so they can hear loud noises, they can be around people. And by socializing, I don't mean letting people come touch your dog, pet your dog. Socializing to me is being around people. So they don't have to be super friendly, but they do have to know to remain neutral around crowds and people. So that's the biggest thing I look for in my dogs. This is Gavin Goins Jr. from King Coda Presas in New Orleans, Louisiana. You can give us a follow on Instagram at Coda the Presa, KODATHE Presa, PRESA, and you can check out videos, pictures of my dogs, videos of training and updates on upcoming litters and things like that. Appreciate it.